Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
So you meet with ambassadors here in Washington, I assume, all the time.
I do, and it's quite common, and have never met with the Russian ambassador.
You've never met with him, but it wouldn't be anything wrong if you met with the Russian ambassador.
No, it wouldn't be anything wrong. What would be wrong is if I was asked if I had met with the Russian ambassador and then lied about it under oath. That would clearly be a violation.
But from his standpoint, what he was saying, the question seemed to suggest if there were conversations about the campaign with the Russians, and he insists that he did meet with the Russian ambassador, but they only spoke about Senate Armed Services related business. He's a member of the Armed Services Committee, and he met with them in that capacity.
Well, two things on that. First, according to Senator McCaskill, who's been on the Armed Services Committee for about a decade, the Russian ambassador has never met with her or any other member of the Armed Services Committee. You would expect that would be one of the Foreign Affairs Committee. That's number one. Number two is, why, if it was innocuous, why didn't he just say that? But, you know, I don't want to lose... I think Sessions lied, or he either committed perjury or came dangerously close. Either way, he shouldn't be Attorney General of the United States. But let's not lose focus on what really matters, and that is that we need a special prosecutor now. You even have Adam Schiff, the ranking member on the Intelligence Committee, one of the most responsible members of Congress, now calling for an independent special prosecutor. You had Senator Schumer calling for that earlier this morning. I'm calling for that. We have right now, Wolf, what is the most serious scandal since Watergate. And I don't say that as any form of exaggeration or hyperbole. We need to make sure that we have an independent prosecutor that is not Jeff Sessions.
So I assume you simply don't want you don't want him simply to recuse himself. You want him to resign.
I would want him to resign, but again, I wouldn't want any sort of implication that this story is just about Jeff Sessions. That is one part of what is overall, again, the biggest scandal since Watergate.
And you think potentially he should be charged with perjury?
Well, I'm not a lawyer, even though I always get confused for one, so I'll leave that to the legal experts. It's pretty clear that he at the very least misled Senator Franken and the rest of the committee. And again, if the explanation was innocuous, that he was just meeting with the ambassador during the course of work as a senator, why he didn't simply state that is very odd.
Adam Schiff, the ranking Democrat on the Intelligence Committee in the House, he complained today they had a briefing with the FBI, but the FBI is not being forthcoming to the Intelligence Committee, and he says that's a serious problem.
That is a serious problem because now finally you have a bipartisan investigation. I noticed that you had both the chairman, Republican chair, and the ranking member having a joint press conference. That's a good sign. But the fact that FBI Director Comey is not being straightforward with that committee is all the more reason why we need an independent need a special prosecutor, and then if a special prosecutor isn't appointed, it's up to Congress to resuscitate the Office of Independent Counsel.
The argument that the FBI makes, because I've heard it, is that this is an ongoing investigation and you don't share information during an ongoing information. That's the argument that they're making, why they're not being completely forthcoming with members of the Intelligence Committee.
Well, if that's the case, then a congressional investigation cannot do the work that it should be doing. I would point out in Watergate, you had the House Committee, you had the Senate Committee, and you had a special prosecutor, all happening in parallel. There's no reason why these are not either-or situations.
Congressman Boyle, thanks for joining us.
Okay, thank you.
The Congressman from Pennsylvania.